Okay, so yesterday, well, not yesterday, 2 days ago, we went over growth and decay, and you worked on those assignments yesterday. So we're going to, it's a kind of a review day, too, of growth and decay. We're going to get to kind of review that a little bit, if this Promethean board will clear the pages. Any day now. Okay. And, but we're adding one thing to it. We're adding the reflections. Okay? Okay. So, this one, this graph right here, is this growth or decay? Okay? That's decay because it's decreasing. But wait a minute, I'm not on the right page. I got to go over one more. There we go. I was thinking that was too much. Okay. Okay, so now let me ask the same question. Okay, is this growth or decay? That's growth, okay? Because it's increasing as your x is increasing. It's increasing, okay? So we are going to, when we find our, if we were to find our b on this, we wouldn't put it 1 over b, okay? When do you use 1 over b? For decay. Okay, now, this graph right here, he has just fallen down here, okay? He's just fallen down. And now, I say he has a tail hanging down, okay? I even go further and say it's a sad puppy dog tail, okay? So there's a little sad puppy. He has his tail hanging down, okay? And that's how you know if it's been reflected. Because all of these other ones, if it's growth or decay, the puppy dog tail, like here's the tail, it's up, he's happy, wagging his tail, okay? Down here, he's sad. So if it's been reflected, you're going to see a tail hanging down, okay? And you put a negative in the front. So last period, somebody asked, but I thought B was never negative, and it's not. What's happening here is your A is negative because you have Y equals A, B to the X. And then you have your minus H plus K. It's your A that's becoming a negative, okay? And that's why. So your B is always still positive. Sometimes you just put a negative in the front when it's reflected, okay? And so here's another example, okay? Here's growth. Here you can tell the B is 3, right? Because that's the second point. Remember you start flat, flat, flat. You go first point, second point. Okay? You still do the same thing even when it's reflection. You start where the graph is flat. Okay, so flat, flat, flat. First point, second point. There's your B right there. Okay? And sure enough, they have a 3, and then it's a negative 3 because it's been reflected. Okay, so let's look at the next page. Okay, so now, is this growth or decay right here? This is decay. And so you see the B value right here is a fraction. It's 1 over the B. So if we were to do flat, 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 first point, second point, our B is 4. Okay? But here, see, our graph was up here like this. It fell down, didn't it? And now we have a sad puppy dog tail hanging down. So that's why we know it's a reflection. And so they did a negative 1 over 4. Okay, so this has been reflected. We probably should have written this on the other one a minute ago. Reflected. Okay, and so A is negative 1. When it's reflected, your A is negative 1. And we've done that all year long. All year long. We've made that A negative 1 when it's been reflected. So here, is this growth or decay? That's still decay. Something is decreasing as maybe time goes on, as time is increasing maybe. Maybe the bacteria in your body is decreasing because you took an antibiotic, and so it's decreasing as time goes on. Okay? And so here we have a reflection. Okay, reflected. The A is negative 1. Okay, and so let's just find the B here just for fun. Okay, here's flat, flat, flat. Here's our first point and our second point right here. Okay, so the B is a 5. It kind of appears that it might be a negative 5, but B is really technically always positive. Okay? So none of your graphs on the blue, none of your graphs on the gold had sad puppy dog tails hanging down. They were all their tails were up. Okay? Okay, so let's actually work some out. This is good practice again for those of you that might have been struggling a little bit yesterday. Okay, so is this growth or decay? Well, you might have to, because sometimes your eyes get a little tangled up, okay? You might have to kind of lightly do that on your paper to kind of figure out how did it start out originally. Was it growth or decay? Okay, so is this growth or decay? That's decay. My yellow dotted line is decay. Another thing you might could do, whoops, didn't mean to do that. Okay, so we're going to write decay here, hopefully in a color you can see. Okay, and we know with decay we're going to use 1 over B, so we might want to make ourselves a note, you know. Okay, another thing you can do, I was telling first period about it, is you can get a paper clip from me, and you could maybe stretch out the paper clip, kind of in a little curved little fashion, and then on your paper, it's kind of hard to see it up here because this is big, but on your paper, you could line up your paper clip. You might not want to even get a bigger one. You might want to get one of my smaller ones, and you could line it up, and then you could flip it up and see, oh, that was decay or that was growth. If you wanted to use that to help you, that would be perfectly fine. You can just ask me for a paper clip. One of these little ones might work better to stretch it out. Okay? Okay. So now that we've established its decay, let's keep going. Okay? Let's do what we did yesterday. What did Superman do? Yes, Superman pushed it down 2, right? Okay, he just pushed it down 2. So that means our horizontal asymptote is negative 2. Okay, K for kryptonite. Okay, now start where it's flat again. That's what we've been doing. Okay, you start where it's flat and you mark your points. Flat, flat, flat. First point, second point. What does the first point help us find? The H. Very good. Okay, so what is our H? What is our H here? Negative 4. Okay. Our A is negative 1 because this reflected. Okay, what is our B? Oh, I didn't draw on the asymptote, did I? That would be helpful to draw on the asymptote. So let's draw on the asymptote. That way we can figure out our B. I should have done that a minute ago when we did our K. So now what's our B? B is from the asymptote to the second point. So what is B? It's 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay? I heard some people say that. Good job. Now we can write our function, and we have to be careful because it's decay. We have to do 1 over B. So let me just kind of write it right here. 1 over B, x minus h plus k. Now, this one's going to be negative because it's a reflection. All righty, so negative 1 over 3, right? And then x plus 4, and then a big minus 2. Oh, you know what I didn't write? I didn't write like g of x or y. I'll take a y. G, you know, f is usually like the parent function or the first function, and then g is the second one when it's been moved. Okay, so questions about that? We only done 1, but there's 3 more to do. Okay, so let's do this one. So first of all, does this have a sad puppy dog tail hanging down? Yeah, so we know our A is negative 1. We know it's been reflected. So let's set it back up, upright. And is this growth or decay? What's it doing as it? Yeah, it's growth, isn't it? So let's write that at the top, growth. So we know for growth, we're not going to use a fraction here, are we? Okay? Okay. So we are going to, let's draw on our asymptote. That's what I forgot to do last time. Okay, let's draw on our asymptote. And then let's figure out what Superman did. What did Superman do here? He pushed it up 3, didn't he? So that's our K. That's our horizontal asymptote. Then let's do the flat, flat, flat thing and mark our points. Okay? So flat, 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 first point and second point. Sometimes it gets a little hard to see those second points, but I think you can do it. Okay, how did this slide right or left? This first point used to be on the y-axis. So how did it slide right or left? 2. So H is 2. Okay, B is what? 4. Okay? Now, it'll become -4 because it reflected, but the B truly is positive. Okay? So, once again, let me write the function. So, g of x equals B. We're going to have a negative in the front because it reflected. X minus H, and then a big plus K. So, the new part today is this negative because it reflected. We have a sad puppy dog tail hanging down. It flipped over the the x-axis. Okay, so g of x equals -4. I'm just looking up here, just plugging it in. X minus 2 plus 3. Just plugged it in as I went. Okay? The 2 changed. It changed signs. The H is always going to wing to change signs because it's a liar. Remember that? Remember H is a liar? Okay. So now, you tried number 3. Y'all try 3 and 4. Maybe draw on your asymptote, set it back up right, see if it started out as growth or decay. Make you some little notes. You don't have to pass, you can wait to pass it back if you want to. Whoops, sorry, Gabriel. Okay, did I get number 3 done? Okay, so how did number 3 start out before it got flipped? Okay, it started out as decay because it was like this, okay? So we are going to write decay right here, okay? Here's our asymptote. So tell me about K. What's K? It's 6. Superman pushed it up 6. Our horizontal asymptote is 6. Now we can figure out our first and second points by doing the flat, flat, flat thing. So we start out where it's flat, flat, flat. We travel along. First point, second point. Okay? Now the first point is used to find the H. Okay? So H is how much? 3. Okay? And the B is how much? The B is 2. Okay? Now, it reflected, so our A is a -1. Okay, so we're going to write, since it's decay, it's 1 over B. So there's a lot of stuff to remember. Okay, it's 1 over B, X minus H plus K. And ours is negative. Okay, so -1 over 2 X, what kind of a 3? Plus 3, because we have to do, minus 3, because we have to do the opposite of H, and then plus 6. Okay? Did I get that right before I did? Did you make any tiny mistakes? If you made a tiny mistake, make a mental note of it so that you don't do that again. Okay? Did I give this row worksheets yet? Okay, so now let's do number 4. Okay, so set it back up right, and let's see where this one started. So we're going to set him back up right and see what he was to begin with. What was he to begin with? Growth. Very good. Okay, so we write that down. So our B is going to be normal, a normal whole number. We're not going to do anything fancy with our B. It is reflected, so we're going to use a -1 here, right? Okay. Now, let's do all the old Superman thing. Okay, what did Superman do? He pushed this graph up how much? 3. So the horizontal asymptote is 3. Okay, and the K is 3. Now we're going to travel along. We're going to start where it's flat, and we're going to go first point. And our second point is down here at -3, -2. Sometimes that gets a little crazy. Okay, so how did it slide over to the left? How many? Yeah, -4. And our B is how many? So our B is 5. All right, but it's going to be a -5 in here, right? Okay, so Y or G of X is 5, but it's a negative because it's reflected. X, what kind of an H? Or what do we do here? +4, good, +3. Okay, y'all think y'all have the hang of it? Okay, so